Welcome to the Life and a Bookshelf podcast with Beck Mills. Here you will find convos, connection, and random musings all about this 30-something life. We talk lifelong learning, we talk books reading, mini book reviews, writing, all the way through to home and wellness hacks and making a positive impact with our time here on earth in our own lives, our families, and out in our wider community. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hey, how you going? I just went to hit record on this and realised it's been probably almost like 10 days since I last did a podcast. And you know what? I'm not letting it stop me. It's funny because in the beginning, so today's just going to be a bit of a life update. What's going on? What's been happening? Exciting things, crazy things. So welcome in. So yeah, I was just about to hit record and I realised it's been about 10 days and I was like, holy shizballs, like a lot has happened in 10 days for one. It's been effing hot, like ridiculously for about the same amount of time, and I feel like I'm starting to go a little bit batty. And yes, I am grateful for the aircon, and yes, all the things. And it could be a lot worse, but I do feel like I'm starting to go a little bit batty. So if you are feeling that too, and it's your summer in Australia, in Western Australia particularly, let me know. Hit me up on the Instagram page. So yeah, I realised it's been about 10 days and yeah, like my brain, like so much is happening in 10 days. We're well and truly back into like the school routine. We've had swimming lessons. We've had basketball for the kids starting. We've had netball stuff starting up. We've had meetings for this and that and the other. So it's all kind of like coming back into the routine all at once. And just as a bit of background, I'm on a committee like for our PNC and for our netball club, and it's it all starts up about the same time about now. As well as that, I was like thinking, why, like when I first started the podcast back in must have been like within the first couple of weeks of December last year, 2023, and I just had so freaking much to say. I was just like on top of the world, like that I actually had press published and started. So like if you listen to those first probably like 10 episodes, to be honest, there's a lot. And a lot of that was getting over that hump of actually starting the podcast and just being comfortable with talking and being comfortable with learning this platform. And there was a lot of new stuff. And then, gradually it kind of sort of went to like 2 times a week. And then now it's been like 10 days, right? The last one was like over a week as well. And it's all good. But I was like, oh, maybe I'm not making enough podcasts. People will think that I stopped doing the podcast if I don't do one. And this is sort of what's been going through my mind over the last sort of week or so. I'm like, yeah, I really should jump on and just make one and just do a life update. And then I'm like, nah, that's bloody boring. No one wants to know. But every time after I make one, literally I just put my headphones in, open my thing on Google to record it, press play, talk, turn it off, and then I download it and upload it straight into the podcast. And it, doesn't take very long. And that's how I wanted it to be. I just wanted it to be super simple because I have completely overcomplicated and overthought and overanalyzed it in the past, which is why I haven't had a podcast before. So anyway, it literally takes no time. But yeah, so to have these things. And then I was like, maybe I don't have anything to say, an update, which is funny because actually a lot of big things have happened this week. Besides all the kids stuff and committee stuff and extracurricular stuff that's been going on. There's been work constantly happening as well. on the admin side of our business, and then writing my book as well. So I finished writing my book last week. Oh, how exciting. I think it was Friday. Oh, God, no, I can't remember. It was Thursday or Friday last week, and I was absolutely on a bloody high for like a while. And in one way, I'm kind of like, why didn't I jump on and do a podcast? Like, it was so, so exciting. But in another way, I felt like that was a really, like a private moment. But I really wanted to like soak in that feeling and really celebrate that I had done it without sort of just like instantaneously sharing it with whoever managed to see it on social media, right? So I wanted it to be like this real private celebration in one way. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should have captured that moment to look back on. But hey, you know what? It's done. Like I've written the book. My aim was 65,000 words, which just sounded stupid, like redonkulously stupid when I first said it, because I was like, I have never written a book before, for the first point. The second point was like, I've never written a nonfiction book, and that's sort of, there's this like arbitrary number, right? It can be whatever the hell you want, but sort of they sit between 50 and 80,000 words generally. And I was like, okay, just somewhere in the middle, like 65, whatever. And it was like a hustle, right? Like every day I felt like this really strong purpose, like I wanted to get there and do these words, not to just write words for the sake of words. Like once I got into writing, it was more like the commitment to the time writing and getting it in before the end of the day. And like once the words come out, they started flowing, except for a few days, which was, yeah, crazy. But yeah, so I did it within 40 days, which is super, super exciting. And since then I've added a bit more. I have taken out some. I had a couple of days off to then like come back and look at it with fresh eyes. And I'm sort of in the editing phase at the moment, which is cool. Sort of just like getting the order that I wanted in and just seeing like the spots where I've like doubled up, like totally. So just like condensing that in and, yeah, it's really, really, really exciting. And I've said, I recently sent an email out to crew, the e-letter crew. So if you want to jump on that for any updates, get emails from me sporadically. I definitely don't email every week or anything like that. But yeah, I've got goodies and all sorts. So I'll put the link in the description if you want to be a part of the e-letter crew, which is the email letter crew for sure. Because it's cool like that. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so been updating them. So that was new in the last 10 days too, is like reconnecting with all the wonderful people that I share emails with, and sort of half mentioned like March 2023 to look out for this book. And I'm kind of a little bit like, did I just say that out loud? But that is really the point, right? The point was doing it, finishing it, and getting it out in the world. And you know what? I am so freaking done. Like, I say that out loud, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not. Let me know if you get this. Like, I'm so freaking done with trying to make shit perfect, and thinking that somehow it will prevent it from being judged and criticized and blah, 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 when that's always going to happen anyway. No matter how long you spend making something, creating something, writing something, it's always going to happen. And I had a thought just to release it as a PDF, just like super simple, so people can just receive it and like read it like an ebook. I've done that before actually for I have written an ebook, business related one, back a couple of years, and that's all I did. Like just created a PDF. People just read it on their phone or on their iPad or whatever, and then worry about like self-publishing on Kindle and that kind of thing, Amazon, which I want to do for sure, but just to get it out and get over that little hump. So yeah, thank you for listening to my news. That was a bit of a brain dump on you. So that's where we're at the moment. And that's what I wanted to share. the real funny thing, sorry, I'm in my bedroom, which is different to where I normally record podcasts, so I hope this is sounding not too bad, but I like the aircon cranking and the fans on, so I hope you can still hear me. Anyway, we'll soon find out. I'm sure someone will let me know. So in the last few days, actually when I was finishing up the book, and even at the start, what would happen as I was writing, and throughout the day when I was at the gym or walking the dog in the morning, whatever, I would get ideas for other books. I'm like, that could be another book. And I get like these like things of inspiration, and I was like, oh, is this just a distraction from what I'm writing at the moment? I'm like, what is this? So what I did, just in case, this is happening for you, or you maybe are thinking about writing a book, this is apparently like a really, really common thing when you're writing a book. Like you get all these other ideas, and it's kind of like, ooh, do I leave this book and start working on this idea, or do I keep going? Apparently it's a thing. Anyway, so what I've done is just in Google Docs, because that's all I use. That's what I've used to write this whole thing. Sometimes I write on my phone, sometimes I write on the iPad, sometimes I write on the computer. Sometimes I do like the dictation, I guess it is, the speech to text on Google Docs, which is sort of okay, mostly okay. But maybe it's my Australian accent that the twang maybe doesn't quite understand sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, what I've done is I have gone out of the book that I'm writing, and then I just create a new Google Doc, and I literally just like brain dump whatever the idea was that came to me, and give it some sort of title that's somewhat related to the thought that I had. And then I'm like, well, then it's just documented. It's just sitting there, right? And then I can look back, when I'm looking for my next writing project, I'll go back in there and I'll be like, well, that's still relevant, or like, I really want to follow this idea, or so I'm just going to leave it in there and just see what happens with these ideas. I reckon there's probably like 4 or 5 that I've had. And the awesomest thing that happened the other morning as well. Oh no, Siri. No, go away. Sorry, Siri. I don't need you right now. The thing, I have very vivid dreams. I don't know, always have, quite often remember a lot of them. Well, I don't really know, but they always seem to be quite vivid. And the other morning I woke up with a start to my alarm, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, quick, get my phone. Because usually when I get up, I've been trying to write by hand 3 pages. I think I talked about it in another podcast episode, just like a brain dump of everything on my mind. I usually write a bit about my dreams, whatever they were. I like to write about like what the morning's like, the sunrise, blah, blah. And I just grabbed my phone straight away, opened a Google Doc, and just started writing what my dream was, because it was so vivid and so cool, and something when I woke up was just like instantly like, write this down quick before you forget it. And it was really interesting, because in this writing of this nonfiction book, I have had lots of thoughts. Like, I would really love to try writing a fiction book, but I don't think I could do it, and I've never done it before, and it's probably going to be really crap, and you have no idea, blah, 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 and who do you think you are, and all those self-criticizing mean girl thoughts that I think I talked about that on the last podcast, actually. This is crossing over a bit. Anyway, I digress. And like all these self-critical thoughts about maybe writing a fiction book one day. And then when I had this dream and I woke up and I was like, remember this, quick, write it down. And it is absolutely the basis of a fiction book that would be really, really fun. And really, really cool to dive into one day. But not today, because I'm still editing. So I'm still editing my first book. Anyway, so I'm sure you can sense how exciting things are at the moment. But it blows my mind that I was walking this morning, walking the dog, and I was just thinking, like, it blows my mind how much has changed and happened since the start of December. And that's in a very short amount of time. And literally that came from me, like, wanting to get over, like, perfectionism, essentially, and like expectation and wanting approval and validation, really coming from that place of setting the intention for the new year. Like, I want to let go of this shit and see what happens. Try new stuff and see what happens. Like, let myself be a beginner. And it's fascinating to me what's happening and what has happened so far and what could happen if I keep going. And like, creativity wise, how much that has opened and expanded. I've also read a lot more books than normal. So I feel like there might even be a correlation there. Mostly non-fiction, but some fiction. Actually, I need to do a post about that because I'm rereading a book actually, on creativity. It's amazing. So I'm going to share that with you. Yeah, it just blows my mind, and like, really how much we often hold ourselves back and don't let ourselves try new things. It still blows my mind for how long. And I don't know if that's like a mid-30s thing, coming up to my 35th birthday soon. I don't know, but it's really cool. And I'm really looking forward to finding out where it leads to and staying open, and I guess like staying open to the path of life, I guess. But I would love to hear from you if there's something that has been on your heart might have been for a long time, might have been December last year, like, whatever it is, maybe you are holding back from starting it or trying it or taking a bit of action on it, or like, I'd love to hear what it is, because I'm going to be your number one cheer squad, mate. I'm going to be your number one cheerleader over here. And if you need someone that understands and is encouraging and also a bit of like tough love, like, do this, I'm your girl. So hit me up on Instagram at Life at a Bookshelf Podcast, all lowercase, over on Instagram. I think I said that. Anyway, it'll be in the show notes. Yay. So that's just a bit about what's been going on up in the brains and in life at the moment. I will have a couple of book reviews coming up. I'll just let you know so far. So I'm nearly finished The Courage to Be Disliked, which was like a huge seller in 2023. It's completely different to what I thought it was in lots of ways, but not that that's been a bad thing. It's been really mind-blowing in some ways. So I'm going to talk about that. And also, I'm just about finished rereading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who is the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And yes, I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't actually read Eat, Pray, Love. I've seen the movie. But I love Liz Gilbert and how she writes about creativity, which is what Big Magic is all about. And I read it probably 3 years ago for the first time. And it's just amazing, like, when there's certain books that call you to reread them. I feel like there's a reason why. And, like, there's some books that I hold on to, some that I donate to the op shop or back to the op shop, and other ones that I hold on to. And it's funny, the ones that you hold on to and you read them a few years later and you're like, like, it's like a completely different book depending on where you're at in life. Anyway, that's one of those books. So I'll be updating you on those. I'm also listening to a really cool audiobook. All You Need Is Rhythm and Grit, which is by Corey. Oh, did that do the thing? Whether you're just starting out with running or not, this book by Corey Wharton Malcolm is, it's really cool. Whether, maybe you've thought about getting started with running, maybe you are a runner, but you want to like improve your running in some way. This is a great book. Anyway, I look forward to giving you a mini book review of those over the next few weeks, most likely, and just keeping you posted on what's going on. I always love hearing from you. So, hit me up over on Instagram. And, if there is any particular episode that you're loving, just take a screenshot and share it out on your stories, Facebook or Instagram. Let's get the message out there. And I will talk to you very soon. Have a great day. Bye. So that's all for today. Make sure you click that follow button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. I thank you so much for taking the time to listen in today. Appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. You absolutely deserve it. Talk soon.